Morning, peeps. How you doing today? How is everything treating you? What's going on this fine weekend? Coming at you today, wanting to talk a little bit about what's been going on with me before getting into the morning brew. Yeah, I put out a few little kind of trolley tweets trying to see if anyone would give a response whether or not the morning brew worked on the weekends. I wasn't sure until I saw it in my inbox. Yeah, they're operational. So what will we do first? Every day we're starting off with a shout out. It's kind of been the ritual, right? Today, shout out to the NFT showroom on the HIVE blockchain for being super simple. I was able to produce my first NFT. I'm kind of stoked about that. It's nothing super special, but I did it, and I made 7 of them, and they're there for sale. So I'm keeping 1, 6 are up for sale. If I happen to sell even just 1, I can create some more NFTs. So I'm kind of happy that way, and I'll keep doing it in groups of 7. Sell 1, I'll make 7 more. That's kind of my plan, trying to use it as a semi-business model and also a way of expressing myself, because I never really considered the idea of having someone hold my art as like a collector's item before. That's kind of new to me. So shout out to you guys. You made it really easy, and side shout out to Crimson Clad because you are an amazing lady. Keep doing what you do. Next up, we're going to do positive vibes. You know who you are. Well, you should know who you are if it's you. You from the place where you were, where you are in the future, let's say. From the place that you wish to be. Sending positive reinforcement to yourself, to all. A reminder that it's all right to pace yourself, to chill out, and obviously you get there eventually because you're there sending you energy now. How's that for a thought? Alright guys, let's just jump into the morning brew. Rise and grind. Once again, I was scrolling through, titled Thanks Apple, October 23rd, together with Karayuma. Sorry, Canadian pronunciation sucks, and I'm terrible at it, even worse than that. Good morning, happy 20th birthday to the iPod. Here's what we love most about you. The sound on the click wheel, empowering us to look out bus windows and act emo. The shuffle with the clip. Still the best device to run with. We'd say the best years are ahead, but they definitely aren't. Neil Freeman, Maddie Merritt, and Jamie Wild. Alrighty, in the markets, we're looking at some red things. NASDAQ down 0.82%, S&P down 0.11%, Dow is up 0.21%, the 10-year down 6.6 BPS, Bitcoin down 3.45%, and Amex up 5.42%. There'll always be some ups, even when there's reds. Markets. Make that 3 straight positive weeks for the major U.S. indexes, with the cherry on top being that the Dow closed at a record. American Express was a big reason why. It said its cards are becoming more popular among millennials and Gen Z. Alright, well, that's interesting. American Express has taken over the new generation. Today in the new flu, Pfizer said that kids-sized doses of the vaccine were almost 91% effective in preventing the new flu infections in 5 to 11-year-olds in a new study. An FDA panel will discuss whether to recommend authorization next week. Wow, okay. Yeah, I guess we've only been vaccinating the elderly and whatnot up until 18, or down until 18. I don't know, I thought there was kids in Canada going. If you happen to know, what's the details for Canada specific? The new flu details on vaccination, drop it in the comments. I'll give you a shout out. Advertising. Apple brings Anarchy to mobile ads. That's definitely one of my all-time favorite movies. Yep. It's easy to forget just how powerful Apple is until something like yesterday happens, then it all comes rushing back. After revealing that an Apple privacy change was denting its ad business Thursday evening, Snap stock plugged 27% yesterday. Its worst day ever, and dragged other social media stocks like Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest down with it. In all, more than $150 billion in value was wiped out. Wow. Social media wipeout, $150 billion. Well, you know where that should go? Into crypto social, guys. Places like HIVE blockchain, where the community is actually in control, not some stupid centralized organization that you're just fighting with. Basically, Apple threw a smoothie on the mobile ad market's windshield, and while its impacts were projected to be bad, Apple iOS ad changes played out worse than virtually anyone had expected in Snap's Q4 outlook. That's from JP Morgan analyst Doug Ammuth. Did anyone benefit from the update? Oh, yeah. Who benefited? Apple did. As it undercut its rivals' visibility, its privacy update, Apple has become a major player in advertising, more than tripling its market share since it introduced the feature 6 months ago. Oh, so a takeover by restriction, huh? It'll earn $5 billion this year, $20 billion per year within 3 years, according to estimates from Evercore ISS. Well, I don't know. I like the ability to say, no, you're not taking my info. But is that because Apple's just got more rights on selling it? Looking ahead, this will only heat up next week when Alphabet, Facebook, and Twitter report their earnings. -NF. Interested in this story? Sign up for Marketing Brew. Might have to do that. Today on film. Now, here's a sad note. Tragedy on set. I didn't do the usual run through the topics at the beginning because I didn't want to mention anything sad while we're doing the positive outlook. So if I ever skip the mentioning of our topics, it's because I'm going to have something terrible to talk about. So you can prepare yourself that way. Tragedy on set. Actor Alec Baldwin shot 2 crew members with a prop gun on set of his upcoming Western Rust Thursday afternoon. Cinematographer Halyna Hutchins was killed. Halyna Halnya? Yeah, Halnya Hutchins, try to pronounce that correct, was killed, and director Joel Souza was hospitalized, but since being released. Condolences to the Hutchins family. Sorry for butchering that first name. Bolden was questioned by local authorities and since posted his condolences to the Hutchins family, saying his heart is broken. Oh, it better be. Yeah. I don't know if you... How broken is it is the question. How did this happen? Still under investigation, but the area's local film and TV union emailed its members saying the gun contained a live round. That means it may have contained a bullet, as opposed to a blank cartridge, which has gunpowder and a chemical primer, but no projectile. Live rounds are not allowed during filming, but productions sometimes opt for blanks over empty barrels because they create a realistic bang sound. Well, of course they do. It's actually something going bang. Both live rounds and blanks have been fatal on set. Yeah, that's right. John Eric Hexum died while playing Russian roulette with a blanks-loaded gun on set. Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, died while filming The Crow. It was a gun with a bullet versus a blank it was supposed to have. From 1990 to 2016, at least 43 people died on U.S. sets, per an AP report. That's pretty crazy. Time for a change? In the wake of the tragedy, many film industry pros are calling for more stringent safety measures during filming, specifically a ban on using blanks. Some crew members reportedly walked off the rust earlier in the day to protest working conditions, in part because corners were being cut when it came out to safety, per the LA Times. So earlier in the day, people walked off set and then someone got shot. Yeah. I'll let you draw your own conclusions on that one, but again, going back, my condolences goes out to the Hutchins family, and Alex, I'm sorry that you ended up being the one holding the gun, my friend. I hope you can manage to come to terms with that. It'll be a tough one. Man, that'll be a tough one. Food and beverage. Animal products, not only thing Beyond Meat is missing. Sad face. Well, you got it in the right order, so at least you got the miserable thing in the middle, and then you give me something to actually put that misery into. Beyond Meat stock slid 12% yesterday to a 52-week low after the plant-based meat company said it may have been a little ambitious about its Q3 revenue goals. Yeah. Why? Beyond Meat rattled off every excuse short of dog ate our inventory. The Delta variant cut into retail demand, labor shortages caused delays in restocking, and severe weather damaged production facilities. Another likely explanation, the alternative meat space is packed tighter than a one train at rush hour. Beyond stock has fallen 24% in 2021, even while U.S. alt meat retailer sales are riding 40% higher compared to last year. So it's got to be something to do with the Beyond Meat. I don't know, just a consumer pushback, I would imagine. Not to kick a veggie burger when it's down, but competitor Impossible Foods has increased its market share while Beyond's has fallen. At least it's not the end of an industry. Phasing out animal products, no matter how they're going about it, whatever company's doing it, as long as the industry's evolving, it's all good to me. You'll just have to pick up your game there, Beyond Meat, and come out with something everybody is actually interested in. It might not just be burgers. Alright, so together with Karuma, catching some sneakers. They're pizzazz. $22K person wait list. Wow. Well, there you go. You want some awesome sneakers? That'd be right up my buddy Tristan's style. I personally don't wear those ones, but I got some good colors. Right there in the link. Key performance indicators in stat. A former Dutch bank employee was paid nearly $200 million by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission for providing timely original information. Well, on an investigation into the manipulation of the Libor interest rate benchmark. It's the agency largest ever payout to a whistleblower. Oh, go you. Quote, in a 3-hour loop through the port complex, passing every single terminal, we saw less than a dozen containers get unloaded. It's a true traffic jam. Oh yeah, here, I mentioned this previously. Ryan Peterson, the CEO of logistics startup Flexport, rented a boat to get up close and personal with the standstill at the port of Long Beach. In a fascinating thread, he described what he saw at the port and offered some solutions to this mounting problem. Okay, remember? They're all eager about selling stuff. Well, it's all in the fucking port still, guys. Check out the fascinating thread. Now let's look at this quickly, just out of curiosity. It's on Twitter. Twitter thread. First off, the boat captain said we were the first company to ever rent his boat to tour the port to see how everything was working up close. His usual business is doing memorial services at sea. He said we were a lot more fun than his regular customers. The ports of LA Long Beach are at a standstill, and a full 3-hour loop through the port complex, passing every single terminal, we saw less than a dozen containers get unloaded. There are hundreds of cranes. I counted only 7 that were being operated. And they seem to be going pretty slow. It seems that everyone now agrees that the bottleneck of the yard space at the container terminals. The terminals are simply overflowing with containers, which means they no longer have space to take in new containers either from ships or land. It's a true traffic jam. So it's not even just they can't even get them out of port. So the problem isn't just the ships in port, but it starts further up the shipping chain. Right now, if you have a chassis with no empty container on it, you can go pick up containers at any port terminal. However, if you have an empty container on that chassis, they're not allowing you to return it except on highly restricted basis. Wow, it's literally, they need people to put containers places. So what, are we going to see a big dump of shipping containers? If you can't get the empty off the chassis and you don't have a chassis to go pick up the next container, and if nobody goes to pick up the next container, the port remains jammed. With the yard so full, carriers and terminals are being highly restrictive in where and when they will accept empties. Also, containers are not fungible between carriers, so the truckers have to drop their empty off at the right terminal. This is causing empty containers to pile up. This one trucking partner alone has 450 containers sitting on chassis right now as of 10/21 at his yards. So that's 450 trucks that he can't do anything with because they're literally stuck with shipping containers on them. So why aren't people we need a business to start stacking and storing these containers. Is that what it is? This is a trucking company that represents 6 yards, 153 owner-operator drivers. So he has almost 3 containers sitting on chassis at his yard for every driver on the team. Alright, so he's already doing that. He can't take the containers off the chassis because he's not allowed by the City of Long Beach zoning code to store empty containers more than 2-inch high in his truck yard. If he violates this code, they'll shut down his yard altogether. With the chassis all tied up, storing empties that can't be returned to the port, there are no chassis available to pick up containers at the port. Wow, yeah, you can continue to go on, but that basically lays it out there, guys. That was that read fascinating thread right there. Do check that out and give it a like. I'll go back after the stream and like it and retweet. Read on the difference between being smart and having new ideas by Paul Graham. Today's cartoon, Saturday sketch. Wait, ... actually, ... I think he's pulling it together. Yeah, no, that doesn't look like he's pulling it together whatsoever. What else is brewing? The U.S. budget deficit totaled $2.77 trillion for 2021, the second highest on record, but $360 billion lower than 2020. So it actually came down from last year. That's good. Why they gotta phrase that in such a long-winded back-ass way, I don't know, but it came down. $360 billion. That's all they're trying to say. Goldman Sachs awarded bonuses to CEO David Solomon and President John Waldron, worth about $30 million and $20 million respectively. Well, I guess good job taking money from the poor. Lyft. Now this is something I was interested in. I recently applied for Lyft in my local area, and they're not in my local area yet, but yeah, this report is something that I'm going to have to be aware of because supposedly just little comments can be reported as sexual assault on the app. I'm not yet using it, but Lyft said that 4,000 plus reports of sexual assault had been recorded on its platform between 2017 and 2019. More than 99% of rides occurred without any safety incident reported. So it's likely when you're going through, they get you to do this really long tutorial, and it tells you like everything is based on everybody's perspective, and things that you think are normal conversation could actually be interpreted as sexual assault, blah 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 blah. So even something as simple as saying, "Oh, good morning, you look good today," to the wrong person could be make them uncomfortable, therefore they could file a report. So You know, if there's no incidents reported, then I'm not so certain that it's necessarily a fault of either people filing the report, or either person that is at victim of report or being filed against or whatever. But I think it's actually the app. The way they have it structured doesn't seem to be protective at all. It's way too easy to just be like, oh, he said something shitty, or she said something shitty, you know, or my passengers being abusive to me kicked them out, you know. So from what I've reviewed myself, that's what I've seen. So I'm going to be aware of that, but I do wish to actually get in with the company, and hopefully it is more just a individual basis. So like if you're someone that can handle yourself and you don't do anything stupid, then you're all good, like myself. I mean, the worst thing I'm going to say is have a good day. You know, so, some people don't like you to tell them to do anything. Epic Games is ending its policy of giving employees every other Friday off, which, unsurprisingly, has ticked off staff. Well, you know what, Epic Games, I guess you're alright to do that if you're under demand for hiring, because that's kind of a global thing right now. And staff, sorry guys, you're going to have to knuckle down. Together with McKinsey Global Publishing, there you go. Women in the workplace are going through a lot. That's definitely true. Read the full thing on the Brew link in the description. Brew's bets, get them there too. Same with the crossword, guys. And don't forget to go say hi on Twitter, where I'm going to be trolling the Brew until they get me some merchandise. That's my plan. Trolling you on Twitter till you get me some merch. Well, thank you for joining me. Wonderful weekend. Some terrible news. Obviously, I can shift emotions pretty quickly. Going back to that terrible news, I want to focus back on that one a little bit. As a cinematographer, I don't do anything that puts me in harm's way, and recording and shooting and all of this stuff is a therapeutic outlet for me, so I couldn't actually even fathom wanting to do that. But I do understand wanting to be a part of a team that creates something that is astounding. And at least she got to go doing what she loved. And probably shot by the man she adored. As terrible as that is to say. That's kind of a sick way of life giving you what you desire. You could say that, you know, how that is worldwide recognition right there. The world works in funny ways, but if you can find something to laugh about, even at the worst of times, while expressing even the darkest of emotions, I think you can get yourself through. So here's hoping Alex Baldwin has the strength to be able to deal with that one. Who knows if it's happened in the past and we haven't heard about it. Any details, drop that down below. That's one of those what the who's. And closing note today on the way out, I'm following up with Fusion Phil on the HIVE blockchain, who is kind of doing a little bit of research on the new flu. A Canadian connection, which I've heard tidbits about. I haven't gotten a whole lot of information that I rely on. He's doing a great job of putting everything together, so I'm probably just going to follow him for it. So shout out to you, Fusion Phil, and you may hear more about that on these streams in future as an ending note. But yeah, he's definitely someone you want to go check out on the Hive blockchain. That's it for today, guys. Dookie out.